afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Mind Movements Martial Motion here on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Okay, and we are going to get started with a bit of standing technique. So if we have our yoga mats on the ground right now, we can go ahead and bring them up. Okay, just kind of rolling like so. Just kind of fold in half, and then in half again, just to roll back down as we go. Okay, now what I'm going to do is position my camera upwards. So you can see me a bit more upright fashion. Right. Now here we're just going to get basically started with just a marching motion. So using my body contrarily, I'm going to keep my left hand and my right foot at the same time, and my right and left foot at the same time. I'm really just drawing my knees into my chest, but I'm also trying to keep my elbows and knees facing forward, not really flaring my hips out too much. Just raising up, down, same time. Always keeping a slight bend, at very least, in the elbow. Drawing my knee up to about the same height as my hips. Now, let's go ahead and get involved a bit more consciously in our breathing. So each time I raise up my hand and my foot off the ground, I'm going to inhale and exhale lower. Just for about 30 more seconds. And time. Here's going to root to the ground, feet slightly wider than apart, bring our knees to our head, our arms to our body, A-frame in front, of course that B-frame off my lateral perspective here. So I'm going to punch across my body, and raising my heel off the ground, and turning it the opposite direction, which I'm punching with the same side arm. What does that mean? So I punch to my right with my left, my same side heel is pointed the opposite direction. I draw one arm in. After striking, I extend the other, striking the other direction. Now we begin to pick up our pace. But again, through our breathing, find a rotation in the core now. Through the ball of the feet, all 5 toes, engage onto the floor. Harness energy, go through our top extremities. Again, also keep a slight bend in the arm, of course, at our perceived point of impact. And time. Here we're going to drop down to our sumo squat. I'm going to bring my elbows in between my thighs, keeping my hips same height as my knees, walk my feet wide, to the point that my feet can still stay beneath my knees. I don't want to walk out too wide toward my feet. I'm outside my knees. Nice, so I'm using my elbows in between my thighs. Just opening the groin, side to side. What I want to do, camera angle might not be the best here, but I'm keeping my heel on the ground. Right, each time I sway side to side, keep my heel on the ground. Do this for about 30 more seconds. So to work ourselves from standing to the ground. Just resisting as much as I can. I'm lifting the heel, trying to keep it down. Draw my knee past my toe. Excellent. And time. Bring the feet a little bit closer together and drop down into that prayer squat. So my butt's low. Pressing my palms together, straightening my wrists as well as my back. My posture is upright. My gaze is slightly upwards. In through the nose, and out through the mouth. 3 more breaths. Actively engage in the core, opening up the lungs via expanding the rib cage, as well as loosening the groin, arms in between, and time. Let's rise our hips back up to that sumo squat. Elbows still in between, but my hands are now no longer touching. I shift my weight again from left to right. Again, keep my hips about the same height as my knees. Keep my posture upright, my back straight. Now, we're going to go down to our right side, lifting that right heel off of the ground towards our butt. As we get straighten our opposite leg, toes up, foot flex. Try to keep your posture as upright as you can. That hamstring stretch right along the back of the leg. Breathe to any immobility. Keep the thigh engaged, foot flex. Here, we switch to the other side. You can trace your hand along the ground. Or for more of a challenge, you can just bend one leg and straighten it up. Opposite heel comes off the ground. Opposite toes pointing straight up towards the sky. Keep that posture as upright as you can without touching the ground. Your hands, if you need to, that's fine. Bring one hand in front, one hand behind. Foot is flex. Breathe into your immobility and switch. Again, I raise the heel off the ground. This time I internally rotate the thigh, bringing my inner foot to the ground. Again, posture stays upright. Stretch along the inner thigh now. Find a bit of mobility in that outer hip. So again, if we need the support of our hands, switch to the other side. Right, trace the ground, walking to the other side. Again, my foot is flexed. Internally rotate at the hip. Inner foot to the ground, posture upright. Nice, and again we switch. This time into a lunge. Arms are in between my legs. I'm going to bring my lead foot ahead of my hands. If you can see that, just inch by inch by inch, walking my toes. Dropping my hips down, bringing my hips slightly upwards. Engaging both arms, keeping them straight. All right, so I'm going to bring my right elbow down towards the ground, sinking my shoulder past my thigh. Again, keep that back leg nice and straight. Go to twist to the right, looking straight up, pointing straight up towards the sky. Exhale. Sinking those hips deeper into that twist, last breath. Hand comes back down towards the ground. Then walk to the other side. Rotate the feet 180 degrees. Again, just try and make sure that there's lateral space between the feet despite how far away they are from each other vertically. Okay, place both hands inside the thigh, hands up, hips down. Keep that back leg straight. And try and walk that lead foot past the hands as much as comfortable so I can get my handy glute stretch on that side as well. Now I'm going to bring my left elbow down towards the ground, inner elbow down. Not touching the hand, just the elbow if I can. Sinking my shoulder past my thigh. Again, a twist, opposite direction, pointing straight up so my arms stack on top of one another. One more, good exhalation. Sinking those hips deeper to the twist. And my hands meet the ground. Again, pivoting. This time I meet in the center. I'm just going to let my feet sink apart. Walk my hands slightly forward. and I dive through. Okay, push back into my split. Once I test the range, I'm going to dive out of that tension. Keep my arms close to my body. And diving down and up. Push back. Test the range again. Arms close to the body. Head up, exhale. Inhale, back. 3 more. And exhale up. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. Let those hips sink down towards the ground as the shoulders rise. Last one. Just here, I'm pushing back into my splits. I'm going to walk my hands to my right side, raising my right toes off the ground, keeping my right heel down. Both feet are flexed, both legs are straight. Excellent. And from here I switch. Walk my hands from behind to the front. So walk my hands to my left, my right foot lowers. Left hand behind my left thigh. Both legs are straight. Both feet are flexed. Excellent. Now from here, walk my hands back to center again. My palms tented on my fingertips. Rise up and heel toe my feet together to a standing position. Heel toe, all the way until my feet are hips width apart, toes facing straight ahead. I ground in, right? Be slightly lighter in the heels, a little bit more heavy in the balls of my feet, more of a challenge. And now here, I'm going to sway, so I ragdoll with the head and arms hang nice and heavy. As I begin to straighten my legs, I go for the posterior tilt in my hip. Starting with the base of my spine first, keeping the head and arms nice and heavy, and rotating from the base of the spine all the way to the top. I'll go down on my knees so you can see the top body. You stay standing. I'll raise my arms up, interlace the fingers, palms facing up, straightening my arms, my gaze straight ahead. Elongating the spine by reaching up with my arms and my head. And from there, I sweep the arm down to the side. And that is time. Okay, so I'm going to grab some water. I'm going to come back down towards the ground, but no yoga mat just yet. Okay, so here we're going to go into our bridges. So what I'm doing is bringing my fingers facing ahead of me, my toes facing beneath me. And finding a comfortable space here, I like to start with my feet just beneath my knees, my hands definitely beneath my shoulders. Okay, shoulders just being a bit more precarious position, right? So I want to make sure that my hands beneath my shoulders to go ahead and aid my posture and my base. So from here, I'm going to rise up my hips and raise one hand off the ground. That hand's going to sweep across my body, palms down. So I look at my palm, and my arm stays horizontal to the ground. I come back down. Okay. Here, I'm going to do a bit more to the picture. Okay, I rise up. Exhale. Looking at my palm, it should be facing down towards the ground, making sure my shoulders stack above my wrists. Keeping the weight in both legs. So I raise my hips up towards the sky and then back down I come. Now getting involved in my breathing as well. Okay. Up, exhale. And lower down, inhale. And goes back to the ground. In through the nose, out through the mouth. keeping my feet flat and base to the ground. Of course, gradually with our breath, finding my range, just a bit more of each one. Make sure the hands are flat to the ground as well as my fingers. And time. Here in our position here, familiar position, our technical stand-up. So I raise one hand off the ground again. This time I bring that hand to my head. My hips facing straight ahead. But lift the opposite foot off the ground, kick forward. As I retract that leg, I extend the opposite arm. I stand, rotate the foot, base, making sure I'm still looking in the direction which my hip is facing. Then I come back to my standing position. Okay. Now, I'm going to get into a bit more of those in a little bit, but for now, I just want to get now into our tabletop position here. Where I'm on the tops, the balls of my feet. And again, my knees are beneath my hips, hands beneath my shoulders. So I'm going to raise my knees maybe about an inch or two off the ground, so my shins are about parallel to the ground as well. Okay, just a small motion here. So I'm engaged in all four limbs. Here I'm going to raise left and right foot. Inhale. And exhale lower. Inhale up, opposite side. Exhale lower. I want to try and make this movement more so through the core. I don't want to shift my weight too much. Just a few more. Getting the body familiar with our contralateral movements. And time. Roll the knees down to the ground. Go to the tops of the feet as well. We'll just take a small rest here with our cat cows. So here I'm going to bring my chin into my chest. Push and back up towards the stack for an exhalation. And inhale, head up, belly down. Again, keeping more rotation in the hips instead of letting my hips sway back and forward. More rotation. Top of the feet pressing to the mat, into the ground. And time. I'm going to bring my knees slightly wider apart one another. Bring my feet closer. I'm going to bring my hips back as I walk my fingers forward. Is there too much pressure on the knees? Feel free to bring your yoga mat beneath you. Hips towards the heels. Walk the fingers away. One more breath. Excellent. And from here, I'm going to keep my feet same position. I'm going to shift my weight from my hips to my hands as I roll forward through chaturanga, my low plank, to my up dog. Shoulders are back, my gaze is forward. Legs straight, hips down towards the ground, allowing gravity and breath to work the stretch. Shoulders back. So let's go ahead and push back. Down dog, one foot over top. Flips. The other foot flips. Really ground into my hands, bend both knees. Draw the heels down towards the ground. Here, I'm going to raise, lower each heel individually. Keep my head between my arms. Back nice and straight. Yeah, bend both knees. Bending both legs. My gaze is now forward. I'm going to hop and float into my squat again. 1, 2, and 3. And hands just out, feet just outside of the hands rather. Pressing my palms together and again for that low squat. 3 more breaths. Keep the spine nice and straight, head slightly tilted upwards. Butt nice and low towards the ground. And stretch the groin. And time. So you're going to draw our hands back down towards the ground. Back into that tabletop position. Here, raising opposite hand, opposite foot again. This time I'm going to rotate and kick through. Okay, so left and right foot up. Inhale. Exhale, pivot. My base foot. Kick through. Exhale. Slide bend in the knee. Foot is flexed. Inhale back in. Position. Pause. Exhale lower. Inhale up. Opposite side. Exhale through. You keep that slight bend in the knee. So heel facing east-west. Inhale back in. Pivot, pivot, pivot. Position the shoulders and hips down, down facing, and lower hand and foot at the same time. Exhale. Inhale back in. Exhale lower. Inhale up. Exhale extend. Inhale back. Exhale lower. Inhale up. Exhale through. Just a couple more. And time. Here again, we'll find our technical stand up. Opposite hand, opposite foot. Digging through. Retract the leg, extend the arm. Position the hips downward. And again, we come to our standing position. Okay. And here we grab some more water. Taking another water break back in 30 seconds. We'll position our cameras to upwards. Okay, as we come back in, we'll get into a position of rhythm. Okay, so find a bit of a rhythm for myself, but also find balance and timing within my movements. Okay, so starting in our usual position for standing combat positions, either my 2 o'clock stance for right-handed people or in my 10 o'clock stance for left-handed. Okay, it's more so a guide than a rule, of course. Okay, I have my feet about hip width apart. I just may choose a bit more narrow of a stance. I just don't want to really be too narrow where I don't have as much base and balance. Okay. I also don't want to be too wide where I can't move effectively. Okay. So I bring my feet about 45 degrees apart from one another, and my back face also facing out 45 degrees. Okay, indicated by the direction which my knee is facing. Hands are up, arms are on my body as the beginning. Okay, so from here, I'm going just for my kicks. So I'm going to kick straight in the sky, turn to my lateral view. I start with my lead foot. I kick in my rear. So the rhythm is in a bit of a count. Okay, up, down, back, forward, up, down, back, forward, up. Kind of momentum from one direction to another. Noticing my corresponding arm swings downward as my leg swings up. I keep my leg as straight as I can, keep my foot flexed, activating that hamstring as I keep a little bit higher with each one, raising my base heel off the ground. Exhaling to keep with my strike. All the while still keeping my protection. Keep my other hand to my head, arm to my body. Now keeping that same momentum, I'm going to kick inside to out. Okay? So here I'm going to have a bit of a wavering here in the ball of my base foot. Here's to move up. Step. In and out. This time you'll notice right here in the rhythm where I'm swinging my arm not just down, but slightly outwards to counterbalance my kick. So as my arm swings downward and out, my leg goes the opposite direction. All right, then up and around. All right, keep going. Still raising that heel off the ground, testing our base, testing our balance. And from here, we switch directions. And this time I'm going to swing my legs out and in. Okay, so over here, taking my step. Moving that direction. And time. Okay, slight pause and break. Okay, now from here, I'm just going to come down, bring our yoga mats to the ground. Come into our seiza position. Okay, position our cameras down. Hand in hand, posture upright. We'll take a pause here for a break. Okay, returning back in. Spine is nice and elongated, hand in hand. Press the top feet to my mat. Chin slightly lower. Just re-regulating. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Find ourselves up and grounded to an elevated position, not just physically, right? But even spiritually. Just making the necessary adjustments so those transitions are seamless. If your eyes are closed, open them. And you're taking in your surroundings. From here, I want to come to standing in a different way. Okay, so from here, I'm going to raise up my hips from my heels. So I'm just going to stand up one foot and then the other, and then back down in that same fashion. So my left foot comes up, right foot comes up, and I come right back down, left knee down, top of my foot to the ground, right knee down, left foot up, right up, left down. Now here I can stay also engaged in the balls of my feet as well. Each time I come down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up. All the while making sure that I move the ground. Little to no impact, especially on my knees. I'm going to bring my hands up. Keep my core engaged. Keep my back as straight as I can. Up and down. So get a thing at the base for those that go for the challenge. Down, up, and still without having any impact on the joints. So I slow down considerably once I get close to the ground for any impact to be met. And time. Okay. We're going to come back to our standing position. Okay, so we're going to bring our yoga mats back out of the way. Small break, take a small water break if you need. Okay, so here, back into our standing position. Back into my stance, hands are up. My arms are at my body. So here I'm going for my jab and my cross here. Okay. Now, keeping that same momentum, right? Not really trying to waste a rhythm here, right? In this case, a tempo. So my jab goes out, other hand stays where it is, other arm stays where it is. Okay. As I draw my arm back, the other comes forward. Not too different than my technical stand-up, where I kick up, and as I draw my leg back, my opposite side arm extends, right? So there's no gap in between my defense, okay? Or my offense in that case, okay? So in that case, my offense is my defense. Jab, cross. Now, while my hand is out there, okay, perhaps I missed the punch, okay? But from there, I create a little fish hook with my hand, so there I can grab at the shoulder or the neck, and from there, step forward, pull towards my right knee. From there, push away. Okay, so that same cadence again, right? 1, 2. I missed. I grab, step, knee, and I push away. Now notice how my hips tilt. Okay, not too different than when I do my front kick. Hips come forward, shoulders go back. Similar cadence here, right? My front kick on my teeth, my knee, similar projection. Okay, pointing my foot in this case, right? My teeth, I flex my foot. When I knee, I point my foot and draw my heel close to my butt. Raise my base heel off the ground. Okay? So from there, you go straight back. As soon as that right foot touches the ground after the knee, I come right away to my cross and my jab. While the hand's out there, perhaps I miss, right? I create again that fish hook. Facing you, palm turns to the outside, and I hook. Okay, from here is my switch motion. So watch my rhythm. I switch left, back, right, forward. 1, 2. Pull towards the knee, and again I push away to create distance for myself and my target. Okay, so everything together now. Jab my cross. Push away. Hands back to my head. Again, I cross, jab. Switch while reaching, clasp, knee, and from there I push away. I'm not pushing them away, I'm pushing myself away to create the distance. Okay, here we go. 1 minute. Left, right, step, right, right, left, switch, step, left, pushing away. Okay. into my stance each time. Slower, raise that heel up, keep going. Keep going up a little slower. Just for those, give a bit more cadence and understanding of it. Switch while reaching. I push away back into my stance. Jab cross. All while being careful to make sure that I'm also still keeping one arm to my body, one hand to my head. Back into my stance. 2 steps away. Last 3. And time. Now from here, what I want to go to here is going straight from that same side, knee into that same side kick. Okay? This time I'm going to make that full rotation as best I can. If I can't go to full 360, I'm just going to go 180. Okay, so I'm going to grab my cross again. Knee. 1, 2. Kick. As I turn back around, I ground into my right leg. Shift the weight onto my right leg so I can lift my right cross. Switch knee. Touch, touch. Kick, turn, back into my stance. Okay? Southpaw. Left-handed. Okay? I jab my cross. Here. Knee. Same side kick. Turn. All the way back down around. Right? Here. Cross. Jab. Switch knee. And then I push away just far enough to land. The kick will come back into my stance. Okay, here we go. First, we're going to go ahead and start out with our sprawls, going for 10. Okay, I go into my deep squat, hands to the ground, keep both legs back to a plank, and I drop my hips down to slow right back into my squat. Okay, example here, hands down, kick back, hips down, right back up, and standing. Okay, 10 of those. Ready? And go. Here's 1. 2. Keeping the momentum. Bring my hips right back up in position for the squat. We draw those knees in and then rise up. On the balls of the feet, bounce right back up. And time. Okay, now we start our combo right away. Add a little more speed. Jab cross. Knee. Kick. Comes around. Cross. Jab. Switch knee. Grab, pull, push, and kick back into my stance. Full turn, cross, jab, switch knee. Step back into that stance. Okay, just a few more. Grab, pull towards the knee, and push away towards where the kick will be. Step back into my stance. Then we go off on the concept of, as we do things slower, they indeed become a bit more difficult. and that is time. Okay, let's go ahead and grab some water. We'll come back, feel the mess down on the ground. Back in 20 seconds. Okay, so here we're going to go into our foul position here. So my foul position starts with me moving down on the ground, and my corpse goes down, hands are down, pointed down towards the ground, so I can use them to anchor in, to push my hips off the ground. Okay, so I'm going to draw my feet close together and turn the rotated thighs. And I want to at least any point my feet, if not full points. Feet together, so it's touching. I raise my legs up first with my inhalation. And my exhale as I lower my legs down the opposite way. Press through my hands to elevate my hips. Keep the legs straight. No pressure on the neck. Just keeping the weight centralized on the muscles in my back. All right, and then from here, inhale, lower the spine down. Again, pushing through my hands. So each vertebrae meets the ground delicately. And exhale, lower. Inhale up through the nose. Exhale, roll the legs down towards the nose. No pressure on the neck. And so inhale, lowering the back down, and exhale, lower the legs. Inhale up. Exhale down. All the while squeezing that belly button to the spine, keeping the shoulders down. Using my hands to base to prevent any impact with the ground. Just a few more. And lowering down. Exhale, lower the legs. And on. Okay, so now from here, I'm going to go into a shoulder stack here. So I'm going to bring my hands off the ground, but still base into my elbows. Okay, so I'm just going to stack my shoulders. And here we can do two different things here. I want to raise both my legs, of course. Then I want to raise my hips and bring my hands along my lower back. Raise my heels. Raise my feet straight up towards the sky. I have a nice steady point in my feet. Legs internally rotating. Again, for sure, no pressure on the neck. Press on my shoulders and base on my elbows for a bit of a tripod formation here. And the top of the tripod is not the head, not the neck, more so the muscles in the shoulders. Now for added challenge, I can release my hands from my lower back and it's facing with my elbows. Right, so now from here, not too different than my foul. I want to make sure I bring each vertebrae down one by one, back down to the mat. So here, release my lower back, facing my elbows. Bring my back down, and then my legs. Okay, again, facing just my elbows, stacking my shoulders. Hips go up. Yeah, and support my back.
my hands, taking my feet straight up towards the sky. With no pressure on the neck, my chin is to my chest. And I release and lower. All right, hips up. Now lower down. Vertebrae by vertebrae, no impact. Elbows face in, no hands. And lower down. Nice. Now from here, what I want to do is come to my standing base. Okay, but we're going to make our way through it by rolling through our combat base first. So our combat base can come through a similar version of my plow. But I'm not going to straighten my legs all the way. This time, in fact, I'm going to bring my knees bent close towards my ears. Okay, so I'm raising my legs up. And from here, I'm bringing one foot behind one knee. As in this case here, if I bring my legs all the way back into my plow position, there's so much time here where I'm so vulnerable. Okay, so in this situation, I want brevity. So I raise my hips up, keep my legs bent, swinging one foot behind one knee, and as soon as my hips touch the ground, raising my hands up. Do my combat base, I roll forward, and up. Keep my heel down on the ground as I stretch the Achilles on one foot and the top of the foot with the other. I push away. And again, face through with my break ball, my hands to the ground. Not too much impact, of course. We are still on the ground, in essence. Bring my knees closer to my ears. Swing the opposite foot behind the opposite knee, hands up. As I roll forward, my heel down, lifting the Achilles, the calf on one, and the top of the foot with the other. Push away, exhale. Exhale, falls through to my break ball. Legs come back. And I swing forward. As I swing forward, I turn my hips, run base on my glute, not my sacrum. Keep this action back and forth. Keep the momentum. Always making sure I'm protecting my center, hands to my head, arms to my body, looking in the direction in which I'm going. Nice. And time. Now, building from that into our actual standing base. So you can leave the yoga mats down or you can pull them up momentarily just for the motion. So you're keeping a pretty central base here. Okay, part of the picture, but also come back in. So what I'm doing is keeping my feet slightly wider than this apart. As wide apart as I need to, so I can go into a squat position. I'm going to squat down, touching one hand right down the middle. Okay, now from here, my target is off to the side. Okay, so from here, I'm going to bring opposite hand, opposite foot base. So as my right hand touches, my right foot lifts and kicks through. Now, rise back up by extending my opposite hand as I withdraw my opposite foot. Come back to that base and stand in. Here I switch. Left hand down. Left foot up and through. and back. Look in the direction in which I'm extending as I withdraw my leg back to that standing position. Okay, I'm just going to do a few more of these for 1 minute. Right hand down, right foot up, and through. Also making sure I'm protecting my face with my hands, right, until I withdraw that leg back in. Hands to my head, only one hand touches. And okay, so I'm gonna grab a quick sip of water back in 20 seconds. Let's come back in. And so back into our seiza position. Again, coming from standing to seated, grounded to upright. One hand, hand in hand, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Spine is nice and tall, chin lower toward the chest. Really extending the entire rib cage, breathing deep into the chest. Improving a nice upright posture each breath. So the string attached to my skull at the top of my crown, pulled up by that string, good upright position. So now here, I'm going to start walking my hands forward. Keeping my hips back towards my sit bones and my sit bones back towards my heels. Bring the knees apart a bit, just rest the chest in between the thighs. Here for our child's pose. Again, still elongating the spine. Keep the head in between the arms. Now here, I'm going to shift the weight from my feet to my hands as I dive through from the low plank to my up dog. Hips down, shoulders go back. My gaze is forward. Again, allow gravity to work the stretch. Don't force it. Here, we're going to push back for our down dog. My gaze is downward. I put the feet 1 and 2. Lower my heels, slight bend in both knees, pedal the feet. And again, I dive through. This time for my down dog. Slight bend in my knees. Dive through. Put the feet, pop the feet to the ground. And I shift up to my up dog. push back. My gaze down. Flip the feet. So my gaze goes back towards my feet. Lower my heels. Bend both knees. Again, pedal the feet. Up, down, up, down. Up here, my knees is forward. I bend both knees same time. Again, I hop and float into that deep squat. 1, 2, strong in my arms, landing my feet just before my hands. Here, I press my palms together. Press low. Elbows in between the thighs. Keeping that back as upright and straight as possible. Head slightly tilted up. Breathing into the resistance. My ribs collapsing into my lungs. Expanding with my breath. I'm here facing forward. I'm going to shift the weight from my feet to my hands, based on the ground. Go into my crane, my crow position. Okay, so my crow, my hands are a bit wider. I shift the weight from my feet to my hands. Just allow my elbows to support my legs before groin stretch. Pushing through my hands. If there's any pressure at all, any imbalance, I go back in that direction, flexing my feet, placing my toes back to the ground, back to my low squat. Excellent. Now from here, we'll transition to seiza. My tops of the feet to the mat. Hand in hand, eyes closed. Chin slightly tilted forward. And finding presence in the moment. Gratitude. So each transition, the capability to do so. Into the nose, out through the mouth. Find that ever-present challenge of balance. Throughout our bodies, mind, and spirit. Thank you again for putting martial motion here at Mind Movements. I'll see you again next week, Monday and Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Thanks again. Enjoy your week.